Hey, what's going on, crew? I'm glad you're back and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover the Honor 9X Pro from China, made from Huawei. This thing has a 6.59 inch display, comes in at 1080 by 2340 pixels. It has a 48 pixel camera that records in 1080p. It also has 8 gigabytes of RAM with a Hisilicon Kirin 810 processor. It does have 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which is actually going to last you throughout the whole day. Now, when it comes to this thing, I definitely can say it's pretty good when it comes to overall performance. The build is actually really nice and substantial as well. Definitely has a nice weight to it. Also, it does come at 391 pixels per inch, and I definitely think that's a really good screen density because the colors are actually pretty vibrant as well. Now, it's not going to be like a super AMOLED display or anything like that, but honestly, I could say it's enough. You also do get a motorized pop-up selfie camera, which is actually going to be 16 megapixels as well. Now, that thing is a 26 millimeter wide angle pop-up selfie cameras, which is actually pretty cool because it's going to give you a large you're going to be able to get a lot of people inside of the shot, which is actually pretty nuts. You also do get a side mounted fingerprint sensor as well instead of a rear one, which is pretty new, pretty different. This is my first side mounted fingerprint sensor, and the slow motion mode was actually pretty cool. This thing just flew through everything, and I seemed like I was able to multitask and get from app to app, and even like open up games that I was playing 30 minutes ago. I could just reopen them from where I was without any reloads or anything like that. As far as the cameras, these things were really impressive. You got a 48 megapixel 1.8 and then it was a wide angle. Then you did get an 8 megapixel at 2.4, which is 13 millimeter ultra wide angle, and then you did get a 2 megapixel at 2.4 as well, which was a depth sensor. It did come with an LED flash, HDR, panorama, and did record in 1080 by 30 frames per second, which is actually pretty cool. It also did record in 60 frames per second in 1082. You also did get a whole bunch of modes to choose from when it comes to, like, you know, all the different features. Like, it's compatible with TikTok, which is actually pretty nuts. You can download like some of the different things, but all those like little beauty modes do come like automatically right from the camera, which is actually pretty nuts. You are getting a light painting mode. You also do get slow motion as well, with 3 different camera angles to choose from. So I definitely think this thing is packed with a lot of different features. It was released in 2019 in August, which is actually relatively new as well. It comes in at the weight of 206 grams, and it has a really thin, ultra thin feel to it in your hand, which is actually like pretty cool. Now, the screen is one of the things that's really promising about this thing. It's a full screen, so you're not going to see any bezels whatsoever. Also, this thing does have a really good camera system as well when it comes down to it, and when it's all said and done, I honestly gotta say this is one of my most better cameras. Now, honestly, I could say this thing did have a decent battery. It was at 4,000 milliamp hour battery, so you were definitely going to get through a whole day. You also do get a bunch of power saving modes. You do get a bunch of different updates on this thing, so you're definitely going to keep getting updates monthly, as I've been getting throughout the last months and stuff like that. So I definitely honestly could say that that's pretty cool. What else can I say about this thing? I mean, it's definitely got a really nice feel to it, nice weight to it. It's definitely not like what you would think when you think of a mid-range phone or a budget phone, because this thing is actually $250, same price as the Stylo 5, and this thing has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it just has triple cameras as well, which is pretty nuts. But you know, it would actually blow phones in the same arena right out of the water, which is kind of crazy. So honestly, can say that, you know, if you invest your money in something like this, it's pretty cool, because you're going to be getting like 10 times what you actually would have paid for if you had bought a phone from the US. But The other thing is that if you were to get this model, you would definitely have to be with AT&T or Cricket for it to actually work, because it doesn't get the 4G like it does on my Cricket SIM for Metro. But you do get these magazine wallpapers, which is actually really cool to look at, kind of cool to play around with as well. This thing does have Android 9.0, and it does have the software MUI 9.1 as well. Now the other thing that's really crazy about this thing is you can also mess around with these cameras, like I did say before, but this thing has 128 gigabytes of internal storage, which is off the charts, because honestly the only way you're going to use up all that memory is if you just take a ton of like videos at 60 frames per second all day for like a month straight, and even then you'd still have a lot left. But you can expand the storage as well with a SIM card slot, which is going to give you like up to 2 terabytes, which is definitely pretty sick. So this thing does have Type-C. It does also give you some other cool features like the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. Now you don't really get NFC or wireless charging, but that's to cut the cost on this thing. This thing was released at $285, and you can actually get it for like a little bit cheaper now, even in the used market as well. It does come in the magic black, and then the purple, the phantom purple, which I do have. So this thing does charge at 10 watts, which kind of sucks because it's not the fastest one that I've ever seen in the world at 10 watts, but it still charges pretty sweet, quick, relatively quick as well. You do get a non-removable battery, which is 4,000 milliamp hours, which definitely is going to last throughout the whole day. So you're not going to have to really carry a charger with you. Once you get home, it'll be good. Unless you're going to be like, somebody who like works like 48 hours straight or something without going home, which like no one ever does. So that's not really even like a option. But if you did want to like, use this thing like for your main device, I could definitely say you could do so, because it does have that snap it doesn't have a Snapdragon as the Kirin 810, which is going to give you really good gaming performance. Probably going to be one of the better chipsets I've ever seen before, and like I said, you'll be able to play really graphic intensive games on this thing, and you'll really get a lot of bang for your buck. As I did say, this thing does have a really powerful 7nm processor, which is going to be able to play Fortnite, and it's an octa-core, basically running with 2 different octa-core processors clocked in at 2.27, paired with another 6 clocked in at 1.88 gigahertz Cortex A55s, which is pretty sick. So honestly, you can get the version that has 256 gigabytes and 8 gigabytes of RAM, but I definitely have the version that's 128 gigabytes of RAM and 8 gigabytes of internal memory and 128 gigabytes of internal storage. So that's definitely something that I really like about this device, is that I feel like I'll never run out of like storage to use on this thing. It's also really snappy and just leaves off wherever I pick up where I left off. It's just really easy to use. It's also made of glass. On the front and the back is actually like a kind of a glass material as well. But you are getting an aluminum frame, which is substantial, and I definitely could say this thing is really usable so far after I've been using it for quite some time now. I think it's been like almost 6 months or so. I can't believe it's been that long with this thing, but I've been taking it on trips and everything. I made a video when I went to New Orleans, and I definitely got some really good footage with this thing, so I'll probably leave a card so you could check that video out right after this one if you wanted to see some more footage with this. But honestly, I could say that I've been using the Honor 8X Max from last year, and this is definitely a pretty good improvement with the all-screen display, pop-up selfie camera, which is motorized, and you're getting a really good. Huawei knows how to actually give the user all the bells and whistles without cutting any performance at a really reasonable price. But if you found this helpful in any way possible, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. But have a great morning, afternoon, evening, good night, and make sure you subscribe and get notified for more videos just like this, and I'll see you later. Peace.